Good morning. Today is Wednesday, October the 19th, 2022. And I'm just going to go over a few stories here. Uh, Rotated mostly yesterday and above Monday's high. And the overnight from last night pretty much rotated. Then we've had a move down coming towards the open. And now we've opened. And what has not happened is we didn't come outside of value. So one thing I want to point out very quickly is on the regular trading hours, we're above the 20 moving average. And very often, I mean, it kind of came down to touch it yesterday, but I could see us coming down and touching that. And I've got a scenario, I've got something to accommodate that. We'll see. But right now, the move's been the upside. But again, always be mindful that in the ES particularly, there's very often old business is going to happen first. In this case, the overnight inventory was mostly short. Perhaps there's some of that profit taking going on, or whatever, and before there's any move to the downside. And there may not be a move to the downside, obviously. So let me bring these in and talk about it. Okay, so we've got some. I've kind of streamlined this a bit. I'm not getting into conditions. I mean, if you've watched any of these videos, and I don't need to necessarily do it for myself because I know that some of the conditions, market internals and things. If you're looking for a strong move in a direction, you want strong market internals in that direction. Be careful of getting on the other side of it and things like that. And as far as entries, I may eliminate this column altogether, but it just comes down to time and energy, and so often I've got to make this video a little bit later in the morning. You know, here it is already open, but actually that's good. You know, let it shake out. There's plenty of opportunities, and even though I've gotten pretty good at trading early, when I'm not, I'm really not. You know, some days it's just better to wait. It's always better to wait. That's sort of ideal, because it can be. You know, you can get off to a bad start. Now, if you wait, you're not getting off to a bad start. You let things calm down. You start to really get a feel for things, and then come in with a good foot, right? Okay. Other days I don't feel that way. It's like I'm ready to go. Let's trade in the first minute. All right. So looking at open in range and value, which we did, and first thing would be 80% rule to the upside with momentum and one-time framing higher. I've got a couple scenarios for this same sort of idea. Right now, let's look at it. We opened, came down. We didn't come outside the value area low. Didn't come down and try this high again from Monday. Didn't take out the overnight low. Very interesting. We've got quite a range move up so far. VPOC is high. Relatively, I mean, obviously it can come lower, but we've got some distributions in volume. And the idea would be to get to the value area high and beyond. So this story is basically open in range and value, 80% the upside with momentum and one-time framing. Well, we need some more TPOs to one-time frame. If you don't count the Globex, that's the prior hour, let's say. Sometimes I do. If it supports, if it looks like, okay, there's been some volume activity early, and we had news at 8:30, so there likely was. So let's look at those TPOs and see what that means. So then you got the open in range and value, traverse value area, maybe the 80% rule. And this would be predicated, because we didn't come outside of it, on counting the overnight or the Globex. And rotate back towards value area low. Maybe we get the 80% rule to the downside. Maybe we have a day like yesterday where it basically rotates over the course of the day. And then I have another variation of that, is that we rotate balance above Monday's prior high day, basically within yesterday's range. And then we make a run for yesterday's high and continuation at some point. We get a move higher. But right now, I'm just looking at possibly balancing until we aren't. But there's a difference between story 1 and 2, okay? We opened in range and value. We didn't come outside of it. But the idea is going to be to get on board for a move towards value area high. How do you do that? Well, whatever your entry strategy is, the idea would be long. So Inflection points, which you see I have numerous ones on here. Some of them may not be as valid anymore because we've traded through it the last few days, but I'm leaving them on there. You can see how volume builds around here, and there's just some bounces off of it and then a big move through it. You know, things like that. I just leave it on for a few days. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. They're just there, and if you want something to trade against, sometimes you might get confluence. Like, for example, this is my opening range. Also coincides right now with the VWAP, with where there's swing highs in the overnight, the bottom of a volume shoulder, and then there's this thing here. So possible will be to buy right here. Well, I don't like how choppy it is. There's also half back. Yeah, I'm not buying anything at the moment. But anyway, the idea is to get on board. And we're counting the fact, you call it the 80% rule, if you count the fact that in W, we came outside the value area, then we came back in the value area, and then we opened in A, and the idea would be to get long as close to the value area at low. Well, if somebody put an entry right here, they didn't get hit. This would have been tricky to get on board unless you bought the halfway marker on this 30-minute bar or the VPOC in the overnight, you know. But again, that's you know, you don't know what's going to happen, how things are going to shake out as soon as the opening bell rings. And I mean, look at this giant tail we've got here. Okay, anyway, I'm going on a little bit long on that. So the next thing would be to, and this could happen it could still happen again in B period. You know, we could come outside of value area low in the A period and then open in B period and then have a move up. So basically, these are sort of the same, but kind of not. Anyway, again, this is a continuation of that, but not rotating. Here, let me put the other pen on. This would not be rotating back down once we got up there. This would be we build value and then take off. Okay, and then after that, it's the usual things. You know, getting long against yesterday's high of day, things like that. Other inflection points that are above. Then the other thing is to the downside. If we re-enter the range 2 days back, this would be Monday's range. We closed the gap yesterday, but we got rejected out of it. Well, if we get down there, we want to look for developing value and possibly the 80% rule of the short side. Now, I will say that the value area is pretty small range. So it also, I want to pull this in again, coincides with, well, now this is at 36.85, but it was at 36.90 earlier, which is where the VPOC for Monday is. So if someone was to get short and you're in a one lot, you want to take profits off of those areas. You might even buy reversals there, but if you're in for more than one, you want to take some off at those inflection points. That's the idea. And I mean, you can do what you want. I'm just saying what I think is the best way to do it. And let me just show you that real quick. So we've got, you know, if we take out the overnight low, of course, it should go without saying. Again, I don't write 20 scenarios, but if we come outside, take out the overnight low. I mean, we may not take out yesterday's low a day. Any one of these, you know, I use this word a lot. Prairie dog them, right? You know, if you think that we're gonna just come down here and do the proverbial stop run or whatever, and then come back out, well, you want to be watching for that. You know, it's a bit contrarian. But if you think we're going to rotate or maintain above there, those are places to do it. So those are a couple other additional stories. You know, we get it back in if we get way below the value area low, but I was really thinking we might stay in value. You know, but if we do move out, okay, we want to look for now the longer time we spend up here and develop value or volume, the more likely when we get down below overnight low or below yesterday's low, that a move back inside of those ranges will work to some degree. Even the trade of the day, possibly. All right, so hang on a minute. I was going to show you this. Okay, I wrote here, re-enter Monday's range, find acceptance. That means you're going to have a new volume distribution. You're going to see activity pick up. get short against the prior high day or whatever, the overnight low, whatever. Even yesterday's value area low, if you feel that's where we're going, or even if we pop back out of it and for a shaking out weaker hands type of a thing where it goes up first before it can go lower. All right, so take profit or buy bounce at the VPOC or value area low. So let me show you this because this is why I said that. Look how small this is. It's from 96 down to 86. It's 10 points. That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. Nope. It's longer than that. 96 down to, let's see here, 84.25. So it's about, what is that? Almost 12 points. It's not really that big, relatively speaking, to the ranges we see. It's seems densely packed with time and volume for the day, relatively speaking. The VPOC is right in the middle at 90. And right now, the 20 moving average on the regular trading hour chart is somewhere in here right now. So anyway, be advised. All right, thank you very much. Make a great day, and maybe we'll see you later.